Ethiopian Jews have a long history in Israel. In fact, they were there since the inception of the Zionist entity into the region back in 1948. They are known as the Falash Mura Jews in Israel. The Ethiopian community immigrated to Israel in 4 waves starting from 1948 and ended in 1999. The first wave of Ethiopians came to Israel in 1948. The second wave began in 1961 and ended in 1975. The third wave began from 1975 and ended in 1990. And lastly, the fourth wave began in 1990 and ended in 1999. The Ethiopian community was brought to Israel as part of Tel Aviv's policy to increase the size of its Jewish population with incoming Jews from across the world by settling them on historic Palestinian lands. Israel's law of return allows Jews from outside Israel to claim citizenship and take residency in Israel. Ethiopian Jews, however, have been for decades complaining of racism, police brutality, and discrimination against them by the Israeli regime. This has led to violent protests on the streets of Tel Aviv earlier this year and over the recent years.
We are here today protest against violence about our community. Last week been killed by police, one of the Ethiopian Israeli adult killed by police. And today we are here to protest and to say no more violence against us. We are here. We had so many years of dreaming to be a part of the Israeli society, and today we are saying no more violence against us.
Protests by Ethiopian Jews against police brutality and discrimination were triggered in late 2015 after a video clip that went viral on social media showed a young Israeli Ethiopian soldier in uniform being beaten by 2 other Israeli policemen. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had to intervene at the time. Shortly after, a special ministerial committee was formed to address the concerns of the Ethiopian community in Israel. But according to the Ethiopian community, nothing really changed since that time. Just in December of 2018, another Israeli Ethiopian soldier was attacked by Israeli police, only this time he was shot dead. Yehuda Biadga, a 24-year-old man of Jewish Ethiopian origin, was shot to death by a policeman in the central city of Bat Yam. This, once again, triggered protests across Israel over continued mistreatment of Ethiopian Jews.
מה אתה מתפרע, אחי? בחייך.
אכן כל מה שקורה זה קורה בגלל שיש גזענות. הרי הבחור הזה נהרג, נרצח, איך שתקרא לזה. הבחור הזה נפל, ירה בו בראש, הרג אותו מתחילת בכוונה. היה יכול לפצוע אותו, היה יכול לעשות דברים אחרים במקום להרוג אותו. ועוד שהוא יודע שהבחור הזה היה לו בעיות נפשיות, והוא ידע את זה.
Certainly fully accepted into what is a white-dominated society, and Israel is most certainly a white-dominated society. Even going back to the point at which Jews from Arab countries immigrated to Israel, they were known as Arab Jews, Arab Israelis. And they also had their problems of integrating into a society that was that was and still is dominated by the Ashkenazim, who are the white European Jews, mostly came, at least originally, from Eastern Europe.
Ethiopian Israelis believe that neither they nor the remainder of their families who are still stuck in Ethiopia are welcome to Israel anymore. Ethiopian Israelis are demanding that the regime fulfill a pledge to bring some 8,000 of their countrymen remaining in Ethiopia to Israel. The regime in Israel agreed in 2015 to bring the remaining Ethiopians to Israel, but it has not authorized funding for their move. Thus, tens of thousands of families remain divided.
The government in 2015 made a unanimous decision to bring the remaining Jews of Ethiopia to Israel, and until now has not fully implemented this decision. And today, the family members have decided that it is enough, that their lives are worth just as much as any other lives here in Israel. And we are here in front of the Knesset calling directly to the Prime Minister, to the ministers and other members of Knesset to fulfill the responsibilities of the government and to bring the Jews home, reunite these families.
שתי אחיות באתיופיה שממתינות עדיין 13 שנה. כמו שאתם רואים, אמא בוכה יום בלילה, ובואו נפסיק את הכאב הזה, לא לתת לעלות ליהודי אתיופיה. פשוט אני מזועזעת. אני קוראה ממשלת ישראל, שעזרו, שיפסיקו את הכאב הזה. בואו נפסיק את הכאב של ההורים שלנו ושל המשפחה של כל האימא פה שבוכים.
The Israeli-based Committee for Eradicating Racism Against Ethiopian Immigrants published back in 2017 a report stating that Ethiopian Israelis were discriminated against in various areas, including law enforcement. The report noted that the number of indictments and criminal cases against Ethiopian Israelis was extraordinarily higher than the rest of the population. According to the report, the Jewish Ethiopian community suffers from stigmas and negative stereotypes and are exposed to exclusion and prejudice, and even from physical and verbal violence.
Think that you can separate the treatment of Ethiopian Jews in Israel, African migrants who face expulsion, and Palestinians who continue to be divested of their lands and their homes and their civil rights. This cannot be separated from the fact that Israel is an apartheid state which practices institutionalized discrimination against minorities. Something that's very interesting in the question of the African migrant.
Ethiopian households earn 35% less wages than the national average, and only half of their youth receive high school diplomas, compared with 63% for the rest of the population, according to regime figures. Moreover, Ethiopian women in Israel earn less than half of the national average salary and are the most disadvantaged group in the country's job market, according to Israel's Ministry of Economy and Industry. It is no secret that the Ethiopian Jewish minority in Israel is marginalized. Over the years, regime after regime did little to nothing to change the trend. Now, more than ever, the Ethiopian community is seeking change, but it remains to be seen how the regime in Tel Aviv will answer such demands.